Make the announcement, or you can wait until after by the end. Depends how important the announcement. Okay, let me start.
But just give me 2 minutes.
Okay, are we ready to go online? Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, sallallahu rasulullah. So, we talked about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no qiyas can be done between him and his creation. Just to make sure that you also cover this clearly. Al-qiyas, there is many different forms of qiyas. So one of the qiyas, it's called qiyas al-tamthil, al-qiyas of similarity. There is two things similar to each other, so they take the same ruling. Okay? I give you example. In Islam, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam wiped over the turban. He was making wudu, he has his turban, so the turban, he pushed it back and he wiped over it. Okay? You following? So, if somebody tell me today, I have a ski mask wearing. I'm wearing a ski mask, I'm wearing hijab, and it's cold, can I wipe over it? We said yes. So that's a qiyas. There is a similarity between this and this, so they take the same rulings. That's right. But the key point is they have to be what? Identical. You cannot say, I'm gonna wipe over the gloves. Because gloves is not in your head. This is gloves different than head. Okay? So you cannot make that qiyas. You cannot make that analogy. Or you know what? I'm gonna wipe over my sleeves. The turban is different. It is similar to the ski mask, the skiing mask, or the hijab. But what if someone said, "What am my baseball hat?" Said no. Why? Because turban is different. The baseball hat, you just move it and put it back. But turban is hard to take it out. And it's basically the same thing. It is something hard to take the hijab off, hard to take that ski mask off, especially in the cold weather. So there is similarity. That's what made us to make that analogy. Yeah, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about cats that the mouth of the cat is pure. Why? Even cats, they might lick their najasa and the smell. That's right. They put their mouth in a lot of dirty things, najis, but still the mouth of the cat is pure. In Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, see how nice this man was, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, bi abi ummi huwa. Once he was drinking and he saw a cat, so he leaned down to the cat and let the cat drink from the bowl he was drinking from it. Then after it finished, he drank from the same bowl. Us look so nice and friendly to animals. So there's no najasa in the cat. What if someone has a rabbit at house, a pet like a rabbit? We say take the same rules. Yes, take the same rules, because إنها من الطوافين عليكم والطوافات. That's why the fuqaha said the same rule applied to people who have, in the old days, you guys don't know this, but older people know that. You know, we used to have in our homes in the old days, especially those who lived in like kind of countryside, geese and ducks and stuff like that. You know, these are all animals are pure because the same thing. Hold on. There is some fuqaha said this should also apply to rats. What if someone said rats? It's in the house. Can make this analogy, rats with cats? No, they fight each other all the time. But Tom and Jerry. Yeah, my kids was watching Tom and Jerry this morning. Just going back to the point. And this is some fuqaha said that. Some jurists said that rats take the same rule of cats. Is that analogy correct? No, because rats are different than cats. What's the major difference? Cats is pure, rats are impure. Their body is impure. That's why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if the rat fall in your semen, the butter or the ghee, basically what you do, you take it out and you take that part, if it is solid, You take it all out and you throw it away because it's najis. So that analogy is wrong because the entity of the cat different than the entity of the rat. Same thing, the dogs, according to the majority of the fuqaha, they consider the mouth of the dog najis. The majority believe that. Okay, so that analogy will not be applicable. So one of the conditions that the analogy, there must be similarity, 100% or like almost. There is another type of analogy, second type of analogy. It's called, I don't know the terms, I didn't study in English this stuff, I studied in Arabic. But we call it in Arabic qiyas al-shumul. Maybe someone tell me what that in English is. I'm sure you guys have a special terms for it. Qiyas al-shumul is this. I say, Socrates said this example, actually. All flowers in the gardens are red. This flower is from the garden. The result? It's red. It's red. Do you guys have a term for that type of qiyas? Okay, water. Okay, so shumul is much easier. Okay, good. I'm not saying. Oh, you're asking about the. I thought you said in English. Yeah, shumul. Yeah, no, this is a terms. It's not like you cannot look for a dictionary. You have to look for qiyas shumul. Like it's gonna be that way. Anyway, what is shumul? It means all. Shumul, it means all. So all, all flowers in the gardens are red. This one flower from the garden, so that must be red. It makes sense. Just as this is what philosophy is about. Just simple thing. You know, they just make fancy words for it. But it's a simple. So that's what it is. So that's one flower, so it's red. Is that correct? This type of qiyas cannot apply to Allah as well.
Inclusive analogy, because shimal is to include, right?
I don't know, must be there is a term for it. But I don't think it goes like a literal translation. But here the point. Guys, can anyone tell me why these two types of qiyas, the qiyas of similarity and the qiyas of inclusive, why this cannot apply to Allah, while the qiyas al-awla, the one I told you, can apply to Allah, between him and his human?
Allah does not fit into the specific understanding that we have, therefore there's nothing that I can compare Allah to. There's no pool of...
The two ones that are not allowed, the condition for this analogy to be correct must be what? Similarity. But the third one, it must be no similarity. The one that prior, it's based on no similarity. There is no similarity between walking and riding a car. They're completely different. You see? Is walking like riding a car? No, it's just two different things, two different actions. You see what I'm saying? So that's why qiyas al-awla is based on establishing the difference between the two. While the other two qiyas is based on establishing the similarity between the two. Similarity between that single flower and the rest of the flower in the garden. The similarity between the cat and the rabbit. So that's why this doesn't apply to Allah, because any time you try to make Allah similar to the creation is wrong. That's why we said no qiyas. Is that understood? Simple. I don't think it's complicated.
Is this a matter of tamthil, Shaykh, here?
Yeah. So all type of qiyas is not acceptable. Anyway, then he said, go ahead and read the next part. Where's the sisters who was reading? Who gonna pick it? What another sister can read? Come on guys, hurry up. Okay, go ahead Sarah. Take the microphone.
I'm going to try to read the Arabic.
Okay, good.
فإنه أعلم بنفسه وبغيره وأصدق قيلا وأحسن حديثا من خلقه ثم رسله مصدقون بخلاف الذين يقولون عليه ما لا يعلمون ولهذا قال سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين فسبح نفسه عما وصفه به المخالفون للرسل وسلم على المرسلين لسلامة ما قالوه من النقص والعيب. Moreover, his messengers are truthful and thus speak the truth. This is opposite to those who speak about him what they themselves know not. About this, the Exalted, the Supreme, has said, Glorified be your Lord, the Lord of Majesty, from that which the unbelievers attribute unto him. And peace be upon the messengers, and praise be to Allah, the Lord of the universe. He glorified himself with what the opponents of the messengers said of him, and he greeted the messengers because what they said was free from defect.
Very good. So here he is telling you to justify why, he answering the question, why we have to submit to the Quran and Sunnah by accepting everything Allah described himself with it, without making analogy, without making similarity, without making any denial to it. Why? He said, because Allah knows himself better than anyone else. So if Allah tells us that he loves this, and Allah, he says that he has mercy towards those, he knows himself better than anyone. He is the one who described himself with this. You have no right to change that. Okay? And he said, وَأَحْسَنُ حَدِيثًا مِنْ خَلْقِهِ. His speech is better than his creation. That's right. If you say, oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he said that he created Adam with his hand, he meant created Adam with his power. Yani, who is better in speech, you or Allah? If Allah wanted to be power, he would have said it power. He would have given indication it means power. If you say, oh, Allah doesn't mean that he loves the believers, it means he rewards the believer. Who is more truthful, you or Allah? Who can express meaning better than Allah? We say that basically that's why we say, that's one of the reasons why we accept it the way it is, because that's how Allah appealed to us. That's how Allah described himself with. So he knows himself better than other. For someone to say, I cannot say that Allah has a quality it called, for example, that he's angry at the disbelievers. I can't describe him that he's angry at the disbeliever. Why? Allah described himself that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala angry at the hypocrites. He said, no, you can't say he's angry at them. Why? Didn't we say, فَإِنَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِنَفْسِهِ. He's basically that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he knows himself basically better than anyone else. By the way, it's if you look at your binder, indeed, he best, if you look at the previous paragraph, that's where the Arabic ones, there's like a messed up. It says, indeed, he best knows himself and others, in the line before the end, the last. He best knows himself and others, he is all truthful, and his speech prevails over the speech of his creatures. So he knows himself better than anyone else. So that's why when he described himself, he described it with the thing that we should accept. And he said, and his messengers, are truthful, and those speak of the truth. Why did he mention this? To make the point that I made earlier to you. You remember I told you, why we cannot say Allah similar to the creation, or we cannot make qiyas? Because talking about the unseen required one of three things. Either Allah tell us himself, or someone which knows Allah tell us, or something similar to Allah. There is no similarity to him. And who knows Allah the best? Himself. Who describe Allah the best? Himself and his messenger. The question is, did his messenger ever told us, or he himself told us how he looked like? How his sifat is? No. So that's why this is all unacceptable. Okay? And obviously we haven't seen him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he said, ثُمَّ رُسُلُهُ صَادِقُونَ مُصَدَّقُونَ. His messengers they speak the truth, and they are truthful. They are truthful and they speak the truth. People recognize that they speak the truth. So if this is the case, whatever his messenger said about him, we should accept. Whatever the Quran said, we should accept, because it is the truth. And not only the truth, it is the best of speech, the most eloquent of speech. Because somebody say, but sometimes I get a goosebumps when I think about some of the statements that made by those people. Like some of them when they said, I cannot take the apparent meaning of the verse. Why? He said, because the apparent meaning of the verse, it leads to kufr. What that means? He said, when you say Allah has a face, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears, or Allah speak, you make him like human, a'udhu billah. And making him like human is kufr. And you want to tell me that Al-Quran comes across like a speech that gives the indication of kufr? I heard once a scholar, even he's a famous scholar, he was stuck with one of his students back and forth in the Damascus mosque. And this Shaykh was saying to the students, the student's not, it just, I don't know, just a kind of question, it's a very innocent question. He told the Shaykh this, he said, Shaykh, you just said that Allah doesn't do anything for a reason. There is no reasoning behind Allah's actions. And you just taught us that there is nothing Allah made in this world is a reason for something else to happen. Yani things happen not as a result of things. It just happened because Allah made them happen. So he was telling them that the rain is not the reason for the plants to grow and the grass to grow. The grass grows not because of the rain. And he was telling them, if you believe that it is because of the rain, that's kufr. So, I was like, basically, what? That's right? What are you talking about? They said that's kufr. Why? Because they believe Allah is the only one who does things. It cannot be a reason behind it. And there is a whole entire, maybe I will touch upon this when I talk about qadar. But anyway, so my point is, this students told him, but ya Shaykh, Al-Quran filled with lam al-ta'leel and ba and fa al-sababiyya. Lam al-ta'leel, it means I did this for that, this led to this. In the Quran, plenty of a verse like this. He said, son, it might sound shocking to you, but unfortunately, Allah couldn't find anything to express that meaning to you except using words that it sounds like that. I said, Wallahi, that's exactly, قَالْ لَمْ يَجِدِ اللَّهِ. I said, A'udhu billah. See, all this, not because he followed the Quran and Sunnah, because of principle that he came up with. It's not a verse of Quran that he relied on, a principle that they came up with about qadar, and that principle controlled their mind and made them look at the Quran and Sunnah and start chopping them and rejecting them and twisting them. It is so dangerous when you ever put any principle, your mind, yourself, a judge over the Quran and Sunnah in any aspects in life. But since talk about in this particular one in the Ismail Sifat, it is the reality. So here, rahimahullah, he's telling them that Allah knows himself better than anyone else. He's the best of his speech, he's the best of his speech. So don't ever come and try to figure another way to express that meaning. Allah knows how to express it very well, and what is said, it's what meant. Then he said, he mentioned that how the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala distanced himself. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzah. Okay? Then he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far away. Subhan, it means he's very far away. Okay? Far away from what? From what they claim. From the attribute that they claim to him. And far away from being free from the quality that denied to him. So if he's not like what they think, he is how he is. He is the way he described himself and his prophet described him. And that's what verse saying. He's not like what the kuffar said, what the ignorant people said, who claim things to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which is not true. Either by denying his quality or by making it similar to the creation. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. The Lord of Izzah, yani the Lord of power, the Lord of might. Al-Izzah, it means power. Okay? Al-Izzah means quwwah in Arabic language. in Surah Yasin, فعززنا بثالث يعني قوينا. We brought strength to them by sending a third messenger. And always العزة when it comes means power, the fi'l of it will have fatha, عزة. Okay? And whenever you have the verb المضارع comes with dhamma, it means القهر والغلبة. It means taking over. Okay? So عزة, it means he is in charge. He's in control. And the third meaning, which is العزة بمعنى الامتناع, that he is protecting from being harmed. He is يمتنع إيذاؤه. And this always the fi'l comes with كسرة يعز من العز with basically مكسور. عز يعز يعني يمتنع. عزيز يعني يمتنع عليك أن تؤذيه, يمتنع عليك أن تصل إليه. يعني you cannot reach to him you cannot reach him in a way to harm him. You can't. إنكم لن تبلغوا ضري فتضروني. You cannot harm me, Allah is saying. That's Aziz. That's why we said he is Aziz, يعني he is so high that you cannot harm, you cannot touch him.
Prevented or incapable? يمتنع.
No, prevented.
Prevented.
Yeah, he's untouchable. You cannot harm him. Okay? And this, the fi'l of it comes with kasra. If it comes with fatha, it means power, قوة. عزة, it means power. And if it comes with dhamma, it means قهر وغلبة. عز يعز, which means he basically took over, in control. قال سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون. Okay, so here with kasra, because he is preventable, يعني he is, none of these description will ever discredit Allah. None of this ta'wil, none of this tamthil, none of this false claim that made on Allah, it would never basically harm Allah in any way. Whatever they say is useless, it will disappear and it will not remain. What will remain is what his prophet and messenger described him. That he said, وَسَلَامٌ عَلَى الْمُرْسَلِينَ وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Salam ala al-mursaleen. Why salam? Because salam, it means free of anything bad, free of anything harmful, free of anything anything which is inappropriate. Why? Because the way the messenger described Allah, it is free from anything which is inappropriate. The way he described Allah, it's perfect way. That's why he praised them for that. Then he praised himself. Walhamdulillah. He praised belonged to Allah, the one who deserved to be praised, because what? Because he possessed the best of all quality, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Could be. Very good. Next.
I think it's some luck showing. You might have to read it from another.
This one is okay, it looks like. Page 5. Yeah.
According to the book, it starts from فلا عدول لأهل السنة والجماعة backwards.
Yeah, فلا عدول.
Okay, that's
There is a missing part.
It's starting from the second line backwards, third line backwards, and then it starts in the second paragraph.
Yeah, it is bad. So here he said, basically, yeah, it's a bad. Okay. That's okay, it's okay. Just read the English one. Sister Sarah, continue.
He, the glory, is his, combined what he described himself as between negation and affirmation. Consequently, the people of the Sunnah and Jama'ah must not deviate from what the messengers brought forth. Verily, it is the right path, the path of those upon whom Allah bestowed His grace, the path of the prophets, saints, martyrs, and righteous people.
Can you read the next?
The following is included in this idea of how Allah describes Himself in Surah Al-Ikhlas, which equals a third of the Quran, where He says, "Say, He is Allah the One, Allah the Eternal. He never begot nor was begotten. There is none comparable to Him."
Okay. Here, rahimahullah ta'ala, talking about an interesting concept when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, descriptions in the Quran and Sunnah. Allah described Himself with things by affirming certain quality and negating certain qualities. So He described Himself by saying, I am this and this and that, and I'm not this and this and that. Okay? So it's a combination of two things. So things that He affirms and things that He basically what? Negates. And that's how the messengers described Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the straight path. This is the right way. Why did He says that? Because in history, we have people who only describe Allah with negations. Whenever they want to describe Allah, they only mention He's not this, He's not this, He's not this, He's not that. For example, Al-Baqillani was a very famous mutakallim, Sifati scholar. Al-Baqillani, if you read his book At-Tamheed, okay, when he describes Allah, you will look at the page. From here, literally, to here is nothing but He's not, 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 He's not. He has no shadow, He has no shade, He has no space, He has no size, He has no color, He has no smell, He has no touchable sense, He's not this, 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 He's not this. And this is how they describe Allah. So this is a problematic. So he's saying, rahimahullah, here, that it is important for you to understand that to have to combine between the two, between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describing Himself with affirmation and negation. Okay? But what is important here to know, that whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes Himself, the affirmations are details, and the negation, generally speaking, are general. The negated qualities are very few. The thing that Allah negated in the Quran about Himself, very few. You can count them in your hands. Okay? But Allah mentioned general negation. Like what? Nothing similar to Him. ليس كمثله شيء هل تعلم له سميا لم يكن له كفوا أحد. Or another قراءة كفوا أحد. Okay? كفوا or كفوا أحد. So here with sukun or with dhamma. So here you have basically this general negation. But when it comes to specific negation, there is but few. Like for example, وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. Allah doesn't do injustice. لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ. Okay? So there is few things here and there. But when it comes to the affirmation, there is general affirmation, but mostly detail. Like what? Like the names and attributes. We have more than 100 names for Allah and description in the Quran itself. Some of the scholar came with 120, 130. So the ulama rahimahullah mention many names of Allah, you can say, or descriptions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you do have a lot of Allah's names in details mentioned. Why? Because the affirmation is a description. It shows the beauty of Allah. While the negation does not really give a clear description of someone. Somebody come to me and he says, Shaykh, this brother came to marry my daughter. What do you think of him? I said, he's not a thief. He's not a liar. He's not crazy. He's not stingy.
Sounds like a good guy.
Huh?
Sounds like a good guy.
Sounds like a good guy, that's right. What do you think? Is that a praising? Versus if he comes and he said, wow, this guy is generous. This guy is nice. This guy is cheerful. This guy is knowledgeable. This guy is the... So when I affirm what I do, I show the quality of the person. But when I negate, I don't get anything. He's not bad. Oh, so okay, what that means? Is he really good? He's not a stingy, so what that means? You didn't get anything yet. Also, there is another problem, which is when you negate, it kind of gives you an idea as if there is a suspicious about the person. If I said, he's not a thief, yani, what, do I look like a thief? You see, give an idea. That's why negation was not ever a way of praising. You following? And because of this reason, general negation is generally speaking good. I can't find anything wrong with this guy. That's a good way of saying. But by itself, it needs to add to it all these positive description. He is this and this and this and that. General negation is good, but you have to follow it with all these detailed description. That's why the Quran said nothing similar to him. وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. Very detailed. He mentioned the hearing and the seeing. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Allah, Ahad, As-Samad. All this detail. Then he said, لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفْوًا أَحَدٌ. That's a general negation. طيب. Al-Quran mentions some detailed negations. That's right. He negated things specifically. Why? Al-Quran only negates things specifically for the following two reasons. Take it from me, there is not a single verse in the Quran unless you'll see these two reasons apply to it. Number one is to refute a claim. So Allah negates something specific to refute somebody's claim. لم يلد ولم يولد. They said to Ya Muhammad, where is your God came from? Then Allah told him he didn't come from anyone. He basically said he had لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا, to negate basically the claim that the angels are his daughter, or he took Jesus as son of God. Okay, so this negation to something, a claim was made. وَمَا مَسَّنَا مِن لُغُوبٍ. We created the heavens and earth and I never was tired. When you say, I never was tired, why? Is it he's like possible? No. Why he negate that he's tired? Because what happened on Saturday? They said he rested on Saturday. So he was refuting that claim that he created the heavens and earth in 6 days, and in the 7th day he what? Rested. Allah said, وَمَا مَسَّنَا مِن لُغُوبٍ. I didn't get tired or anything like that. So, no. So, not yet. This is number one. Number two is what Salman want to say because he want to go early. Okay, so number two is this, which is Allah negate things specifically to prove the opposite of it. So he mentioned it to prove the opposite. وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. He never ever treat anyone unjustly or unfairly. Where this verse came in relation to Yawm al-Qiyamah, to establish what? The concept of justice. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. What is سنة? مقدمات النوم. He doesn't sleep. No, he's like dizzy and drowsy before he goes to sleep. You know how so drowsy before sleep. So why? To prove the first two description, which is Allahu la ilaha illa huwa what? Al-Hayy al-Qayyum. Al-Hayy, the one who has ish? Life. Nawm is the smallest form of what? Death. So his life is complete. So how he prove his complete life? By proving the word Hayy, then saying no sleep. To negate the sleep, to prove the opposite, which is the complete life. Type Qayyum is the one who taking care of everything. So he said, no sinner. He never get drowsy. He never get tired. He never get even for a second to be not aware. Because if you are Qayyum, taking care of something, that means you will be always on the top of everything. So Allah negated the sinner to prove the complete Qayyumiyyah. Or some said the sinner and the nawm to prove the complete life. Yani he never gets sleep, nor even the introduction to sleep. So nothing at all has to do against him being absolutely, has a complete absolute life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعْجِزَهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فِي السَّمَاءِ إِنَّهُ كَانَ عَلِيمًا قَدِيرًا. There is nothing يُعْجِزُهُ. يعني إيش يعجزه؟ Huh? No. How would you translate that? There is nothing will make him incapable. There is nothing that he's not incapable of in the heavens, on the earth. Questions. What is the thing that make you incapable? When you lose the capability of doing things.
Old, tired, dead.
Try broad. The lack of what? The lack of ability. I can't do, I'm not capable because I don't have the ability to do it. العجز عن القدرة. That's right. I don't have the ability, the capability to do it. I'm not capable of doing it. Because I'm weak, I'm whatever. That's right. What the other reason? I can't do it because the lack of knowledge. They said always you are incapable because you lose one of two. Ilm or qudra. Knowledge or ability. That's why Allah said in the Quran, there is nothing make him incapable. Because he is Al-Alim Al-Qadir. He is the most knowledgeable. He is the most capable. So he wants to prove these two names by negating Al-Ajz, by negating incapability, to prove his complete capability, his complete knowledge, which came in the verse in the Quran. So anytime you will find a negation in the Quran, Allah trying to establish and to affirm a positive description. And I can keep going on every time in the Quran. Just look what Allah tried to prove. Has no son, has no partner, to prove kufuwan ahad. Because if you have a son, he take part of your what? Quality. That's right. But nothing similar to him. He negate that specific. Okay. So to show his complete uniqueness, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, do you get that concept? Did you get that? So Ahl Sunnah al-Jama'ah said, we believe in negations, but this negation must be meant to establish what? The complete opposite. This way, it's the way of the messengers and the way of the Quran. A detailed description of the affirming the description of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. General negation, sometimes detailed negations, but it meant to prove the opposite, the complete opposite. لإثبات كمال الضد, we say that in Arabic. Keep this in mind because that's a big distinguish between the Sunni way and the people who did not follow the way of the Quran. The people who didn't follow the way of the Quran, they start describing Allah, as I told you, a whole page. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَيْسَ بِعَاشِقٍ وَلَا بِمَعْشُوقٍ وَلَا بِلَذَّةٍ وَلَا بِلَوْنٍ وَلَا بِظِلٍ وَلَا بِذَسٍ not. He's not this, he's not this, he's not this, and all the way down. And when they say how he described, Allah has a perfect names, just very general. But when it comes to what about the love, what about the wisdom, what about the power? I'm not sure if we can approve that. So they are the opposite of the Quran, subhana Rabbi. And that's why this is, he's telling you, Ibn al-Qayyim, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, telling you here, you remember, the way we believe in Asma al-Sifat, the way it comes in the Quran and Sunnah. One of the way of the Quran and Sunnah, to negate the similarity, to approve it and to accept it, and to believe there is affirmation and negation, a detailed affirmation and a general negation, and the negation meant for the complete opposite. Then he said, and this can be seen clear in Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad, and basically seen clear in Allahu La ilaha illa Hayyul Qayyum, because it's very stated, very clear. A negation in Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad, a detailed negation for the Son and for being begotten. And why? To prove that he is one. Because if he comes from something else, he's not one. That's right. And if he has a son, he's nothing similar to him, because it means he has someone similar to him. So he did this specific negation to prove this point, to prove the complete opposite. And on the other hand, لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم, he denied the sin and nawm to prove his complete life, his complete qayyumiyyah, that he's capable of everything. We'll end here. It's been a long day for you guys. I really would like to thank the brothers. I didn't say that in the beginning, but I like especially Arsalan. Jazakallah khair. He's been like chasing me for this for a while. And apologize, I give you a hard time sometimes in answering and organizing, but I'm glad that we're doing this. I know it's kind of too details and the work we do, but we will have a very faster rate after this. For me, it's about you to get like a sense of how this work and how deep we can go, and there is much to be said, but from now on things are much better. We will have a very interesting talk about certain other topics. I want to save also a lot of energy for al-qadar, for the concept of iman, for amr of munkar. There's a lot of interesting issues in this area. Is as important as the issue of the names and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What I will try to do tomorrow, I'll try to cover 2 or 3 important principles govern the area of al-asma' al-sifat, and very important principle help you to understand this concept. And Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah mentioned them during his book. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Then we'll have Monday and Tuesday, inshallah, in the night. Okay. The dua? Yeah. He said make dua for the Rockets that they win. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if this is good for them to make them win. I'm a Rocket fan, so.
I just have a few announcements.
Go ahead.
Jazakumullah khair for your patience. We have not done a seminar this lengthy before, so we really appreciate that you came, you're benefiting, you're making this masjid al-masjid your home, which is your home as well. So thank you very much again for your patience in everything, in the logistics and everything. Just a few things. Tomorrow's start time will be 1 p.m. Tomorrow's start time again will be 1 p.m. I apologize for the confusion in getting started for today. Also, this is a registered class. The link is in the back over there. So if anyone still